We've all heard stories about the demonic possession of a body, haven't we? And assumed that these stories were not true. Or that at least most of them have been made up by the storytellers, right? What if those tales were true? You guessed it right. Today, we're going to discuss some of the most fascinating yet terrifying stories about demonic existence, as well as possessions. So stay put. Before we move on, take a moment and press the subscribe button. And don't forget to press the bell icon so you stay updated about everything interesting. So let's dive right in. Number 1. The Old House. Samantha used to go to school with her friends, namely Alex, Amanda, and Sean. The roads to school were deserted, trees with bats sitting on them, staring. It was a 50-minute walk to their school, which was often terrifying for them. On their way home, after extra classes, Samantha was left alone by her friends. Helpless, she tried to contact her parents, but fate had something else decided for her. When she finally made up her mind to walk alone all the way back to her home, she came across a hut separated from all the houses at the corner of a street. Out of curiosity and out of her excitement for exploration, she decided to have a look. On reaching, she observed the house. Not even cats were daring to step inside the deserted house. Samantha stepped in and was faced by bats taking off in all directions. She was petrified, and when she tried to step back, the door slammed shut, screaming, crying for help. But no one was close enough to listen to her, and at that moment, she realized that she is in trouble. She screamed, "Help! Help! Can someone listen to me?" Then there came a reply. When she looked up to see where the voice came from, it was an old man with blood on his face and dressed in a black cloth. Number 2. Somebody is under the bed. Alex was 5 years old, and he used to sleep with his father, as he loved to. Winter was at its peak, and the snowstorm was not slowing down. He was constantly looking at the fireplace because he thought he heard something from there. But his father waved away all the claims his son made and asked him to sleep. Disturbed, little Alex was counting the stars in the sky from the window beside his side of his bed. It was midnight. Alex's father was snoring, and it kept Alex awake and curious. Out of boredom, he started to play with his trick box, which his father bought for him, when he suddenly realized there was someone under the bed. "Daddy, wake up. I think there's someone under the bed." His father snoring, as if he was free from all the complications of this world. Alex, petrified, dropped his box on the floor, convinced himself that there was no one under the bed, and promised to himself that he was not going to look under the bed. When he stretched to get his box, his tiny arms were too small. "Daddy, there's someone under our bed." Finally, disturbed awake, his father began scolding him. When his father looked under the bed, he saw another Alex under the bed, staring back at him with eyes shining, quivering, and whispering, "Daddy, there's someone on my bed." Number 3. The Empty Chair. Lucy and her sister were kids, and they used to live in a house that was separated from the urban area and was located at the outskirts of a much larger city. They loved to run around the house, and they had the best times of their lives, running around the corners and climbing on the mango trees their father had planted. But their favorite thing was the ghost. They used to call it their mother because she was so kind and caring, and her demeanor was nurturing and helpful. On a chilly morning, Lucy and her sister would wake up, and both of them would run all over the backyard looking for their acclaimed mother. They used to climb the mango trees to have a broader view of the backyard to find their mother, but she was nowhere to be found. That same day, they found an empty chair lying in the middle of their backyard. They took the chair inside. That same day, they found Mother inside the house, and they were jubilant to see her. When they were watching TV or doing their homework, Mother would move the chair, and slowly, all the way to the center of the room. They used to drag the chair back from where Mother moved it, and this made mothers sad. They thought the mother wanted to help them by moving the chair closer to them. Years passed, and there was no sign of their mother. They learned to live without their mother. They used to remember her whenever they saw that chair in the backyard where it was found originally. Then, one day, Lucy, owing to her nerdy nature, found an old newspaper in their storeroom. It was about the house's original occupant, a widow. She had murdered 2 of her sons by making them drink milk, which was poisoned by her, before bed. Afterward, she hung herself to death, and her body was not found. The newspaper also included a clear picture of the living room, with a rope hanging from the fan, beneath which was a wooden chair, which was knocked over, and it was placed exactly in the middle of the room. Lucy and her sister were petrified, and they left the place to never come back. The article, which Lucy dropped slowly, moved towards the center of the room. Number 4. The Vampire at Home. 21-year-old Mason loved to hang out with his friends. Often, they used to stay late at the local bar, which was one of the most crowded places in the town. They were proud to be grown-ups. One day, during a musical night, they were dancing. After a couple of shots of the latest whiskey, after a few drinks, Mason had grabbed the bottle and drunk the entire bottle empty. During the musical night, he checked his phone and found that his pocket was empty. When he realized that his phone wasn't in his pocket, he started to check the tables, but his vision was blurry. He had to ask his friends to help him fetch his phone, but his phone was nowhere to be found. He used his friend's phone to call him, but all in vain. After checking all the bathrooms as well as the tables, he was worried. His friends asked him to fetch his phone later and enjoy the night at the moment. Owing to his dizziness, he agreed and started to dance again. When the party was over, he used his friend's phone again and rang his cell. After 2 rings, someone answered, gave out a giggle, and then hung up. At this, Mason thought that his phone was lost and he will not get his hands on his phone again, and set off back towards his home. When he got home, he got his phone laying right on the nightstand, right where he used to put it. On it were some words written with blood. I'm watching you. Number 5. Corners Unseen. The room was lit with candles, and it smelled like rusted iron. In the corner was a book rack, which had old rusted books stacked all over it. Amanda used to read a lot. She used to gather all the books she could, and she was always hungry for more. She used to read at night with all the lights closed and sat in a corner with a candle on the shelf. On a chilly evening, she started to read a book which was titled The Bloody Mary. Apparently, she was fascinated by the title and all the curiosity it left Amanda in. She was anxiously waiting for all her family members to sleep so that she could start reading the book. It was 11:15 when she opened the book and started to read the first chapter. Sitting in the corner, she was totally indulged and lost in the book. The chapter was named The Walls of Blood, and she was giggling while reading the book. The Bloody Mary loves to climb down the walls of blood. She loves captivating souls. She loves drinking blood. The wind started to blow outside, and after a while, the candle was blown off. The blood started to drip from the walls, and Amanda, too late to notice it, couldn't run out of the room. The door slammed shut, all the words vanished from the book, and the windows shattered. The Bloody Mary loves blood. She loves captivating souls.